Hi, welcome to Dwayne's Guitar Lessons. I'm instructor Dwayne Jenkins. In today's video, we're going to be continuing our study of lead guitar playing and talk about ways to improve your lead guitar playing. And we're going to be discussing more out of this book right here, this book I wrote called Lead Guitar Wizardry, Volume 1, which explains the fundamentals of how to play lead guitar. You know, your scales and what kind of notes you need and things like that, how things work. In our last couple videos, I talked about our major scale, playing them, our chromatic scale, our major scale, playing it along the fretboard and also across the fretboard in 2 octaves. Okay, that's very, very important to know because that's the foundation of your scales. You know, actually your chromatic scale is the foundation of everything. You know, your chords, your scales, everything comes out of that, okay? That's your 12 notes in the musical alphabet, and then out of that we take 8 notes and we create our major scale. And if you haven't seen that video, I'll leave a link below. I would highly recommend you check that out because it'll make this video make a lot more sense, okay? And I would highly recommend you learn that stuff because it really unlocks the mysteries of the fretboard, okay? And when you're playing lead guitar, you gotta know this stuff. You gotta know where to play. So you got basically 2 options. Either you could, you know, play and hear what sounds good, which a lot of guys do. They play by ear and you can do that. Or you could actually learn, you know, this stuff here that I'm teaching you, okay? Now, what we're gonna do in today's video lesson is we're gonna talk about the pentatonic scale and a few other personality licks that bring it to life, okay? So if you're not quite sure about that, stick around and we'll learn how to do some really cool stuff with the pentatonic scale. All right, now, like I mentioned before, we have our chromatic scale, which is kind of like the roots of the tree. Then we have our major scale, which is kind of like the tree trunk, okay? That's our 8 notes, that do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, okay? I explained it to you in the key of key of A last time. You know, do, re, mi, fa, sol. Sorry, I'm playing the minor pentatonic scale. Okay, so the major scale in A. Okay, or you can play it along the fretboard. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Okay, so there's 8 notes, okay? Now in the notes of the 8 major scale is going to be an A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, and A. So in the key of A, we have 3 sharps, our C sharp, our F sharp, and our G sharp, okay? And I talked about this in the last videos that I made on this series, so I would highly recommend you check that out if you know what I'm talking about. Like I said, I'll leave a link in the description below on that, so you can check that out. It shows you that secret formula that you need to learn to find your major scale. If you learn that formula, I guarantee you'll be able to find any major scale on the fretboard in any key. And then, once you learn how to manipulate that, you can make minor scales and all kinds of other ones, okay? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take those 8 notes, okay? And we're gonna take 5 of those notes and make up our pentatonic scale, okay? Now, the most common scale to start off with in playing lead guitar is your minor pentatonic. Almost all the great players played solos in this scale. So you definitely want to learn it. I would highly recommend starting here, okay? Now what we're going to do is we're going to take, I said 5 notes. That's what pentatonic means, is 5, penta meaning 5, tonic meaning notes, okay? So basically a scale of 5 notes. So what we do with this scale formula is going to be a 1, a flat 3, a 4, a 5, and a flat 7. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to take our third of the A major scale, which is a C sharp, and we're going to flatten it by 1, which makes it a C. We're going to take our 4 and our 5, which is a D and an E. We're going to keep those the same. Then we're going to take our flat 7, or actually our 7 that's in the A major scale, which is a G sharp, and we're going to make that into a G. So now our 5 notes are going to be an A, C, D, E, G. Okay, so if we were to play the pentatonic pattern, okay, across the fretboard right here, starting at the 5th fret, and we start there because that's the A note on the 6th string. Okay, now we have our A. We're not going to go to the C sharp because it would be like do, re, mi. That would be your C sharp, but we're going to flatten it by 1. So now we're going to go 5, 8. Okay, not 5, 9, 5, 8. So A, C, and then our D, which is right here. on our 5th string, 5th fret. Then we're going to go to the E, which is a whole step up, okay, which I taught you about that. If you haven't learned about that, I highly recommend you learn that. Check out that video. And then we've got back to the G. Okay, so 1, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 7, okay? And then we start all over again here at the A. A, C, D, E, G. Then we start again here at the A. Alright, and then we can come up here to the C, D, E, G again. Then back to A. Okay, so if you learn those 5, understand what I'm talking about there. That's your pentatonic pattern. That's the first scale I'd highly recommend you start with when playing lead guitar. Besides those other 2 scales, the major scale and the chromatic scale. But this one right here is the most common. Those 5 notes, your 1, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 7, okay? And this is just in your, and like I said before, learn it in a pattern, and then you can transpose it to different keys. Transposing means moving, okay? So, now we have this pattern, which is a 5, 8, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 8, 5, 8. We go back, it'll be an 8, 5, 8, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5. Okay? That's the main scale right there that I would highly recommend you start with, okay? And it's made up of those notes. In this example, I'm making it in A, okay? So it's A minor. Or it could be started here at the 8th fret, which is a C, and you could actually use it as a C major pentatonic scale. Because of the fact that the notes are the same, that's a little bit for a different lesson, but the notes are relative, okay? That's what relative means. It's kind of like you have relatives, you both maybe have the same last name, that's what makes you relative, okay? These are the same thing. They have the same notes, okay? So your C major is going to have the same notes as your A minor. But that's just a little bit for something else, okay? So we're just going to focus on this pattern, this pentatonic pattern, okay? You could play it in a minor or a major, doesn't really matter, but we're just going to look at it from a minor point of view for right now, okay? So 5, 7, I'm sorry, 5, 8, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 8. Now once you get that down, what we need to do is we need to bring it to life, okay? And that's what we do with what I call personality licks, okay? Your hammer-ons, your pull-offs, your bends, your slides, your trills, your triplets, okay? So let's take a look at those a little bit more in detail, all right? Okay, so now we have, you can see my fretboard a little bit closer now. We're in the A minor pentatonic position, 5th fret right here. So it'd be 5, 8, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 8, 5, 8. Okay, or you could use your 3rd finger. I use my pinky, and I'd highly recommend you use your pinky because it's just going to help you with playing lead guitar and, you know, in general. So get that pinky going. But anyway, so let's take a look at some of these techniques that I mentioned, okay? The hammer-on. This is sometimes called a slur. We're going to call it a hammer-on because you're hammering onto the note, okay? So you're hitting a note here, and you're hammering onto the next one. Okay, so you're actually just picking the first note and hammering onto the second one, okay? That's why it's called a hammer-on, because you're hammering onto the note. Okay? Now a pull-off is just the opposite. You're going to put 2 fingers down and pull off of the string, like literally pull the string off the fretboard. You're going to hit the note and then pull it off. So that would be like a 7 pulled off to the 5. Okay, a slide. Okay, we take one note, we pick that note, we slide to the next. Slide up, slide down. Okay, so if you're going up if you're going towards the bridge, that's considered up. If you're going down towards the tuning keys, that's considered down, okay? Now notice how that really brings that to life a little bit more. So you can practice that on each string. Okay, the bend, the infamous bend. You got to get this down because this is a character that's really specific to playing guitar. Other stringed instruments like piano and mandolin and violin, they don't bend strings like we can do on the guitar. So you really want to master this technique because it really gives you a lot of nice expression that's unique to the guitar. So you hit a string, bend it up, or you can bend it down. Or you can bend it up first and then hit it and then release it. See, that's a pretty cool technique too. Bend it up first, pick the note, release it. Or you could bend the note up and then release it. See how you could hear two notes? You pick one note, but you're actually creating two. 1, 2, okay? Or you could do both. You could make it go up and down like this. Okay, and sometimes if you need help, you can put your finger behind the string. Now you have two fingers on the same string, and help push it up. Okay, that always helps too. Okay, so that's a technique you really want to master, that bending. That's very, very important. Okay, and then we have vibrato, which is you just hit the note and kind of wiggle it up and down a little bit like this. Not side to side this way, because you're not going to hear anything, okay? But up and down, kind of like mini bends. That's a really, really hard technique to master, so get that down, okay? That vibrato. Okay, that's another great technique, okay? A trill, which is just a repeated hammer-on pull-off, okay? So if you were to do, that's a hammer-on and then a pull-off. A trill would be just a repeated version of that. I'm not picking any notes. And I take the whammy bar. Do some really cool stuff like that. Okay, so it's these techniques that bring the scale to life, okay? If you just play the scale like this, that's okay. You can do that. But if you add those techniques, the hammer-ons, pull-offs, slides, the bends. Another technique I wanted to show you real quick is a triplet, which is just a 3-note sequence. Okay, that's how you bring the scale to life. So make sure to master that. Work on those things. Hammer-ons, pull-offs, slides. Your alternate picking that we discussed in that last video, if you didn't watch that, check out the link below in the description. It'll be in there. I'll show you all those videos. I'll leave all those videos in the description so you can watch them, and you get that alternate picking down, and then you add all this stuff, then you can just really do some cool stuff, you know what I mean? Here's the first part of Shook Me All Night Long by AC/DC, and you'll be able to see it's right in this. Well, actually, it's in the key of G, so we're gonna move this to here. But you'll see it's in the key. It's in this pentatonic pattern. You'll see it. It goes like this. Did you see that? See how all those notes are right there in that pattern? All those notes are in that pattern. He added some bends and some different things, and that's what you want to do for your solos, okay? All right, so there we have it. A quick little lesson on the pentatonic scale, why it's important, how to find it, and a few of the personality licks. That's what I call them, personality licks, because that's what brings the scale to life, okay? Is those hammer-ons, the pull-offs, the slides, the bends, the trills, you know, practice that stuff. Get that stuff down, and you'll see as you start to develop your skill with that, you'll see that it brings the scale to life. And then you're gonna hear those kind of techniques when you listen to songs, you'll listen to guitar solos of your favorite artists, you're gonna hear those hammer-ons, those slides, pull-offs, bends, vibrato, that kind of stuff, okay? And once again, I'd highly recommend, if you get a chance, get this book, okay? I have it both in ebook and paperback, and I'm working on a audio version of it, and I'm also working on creating a video course on it as well. But for right now, I'd highly recommend this. I'm also working on volume 2 of it, so I got a lot of stuff going on right now. But this is a great book. It's all written in tabs, got some great diagrams, really easy to understand. I give you a lot of good information here, and it shows you the basic fundamentals of playing lead guitar. So if that's something you're really interested in improving, I'd highly recommend getting this. Because it's got a lot of great information. It kind of shows you how I was taught how to play. And I'm telling you, this is a great thing for your lead guitar playing, okay? So thank you once again for watching. I appreciate it. Like I said, I'll leave those other videos and those links to those other videos in the description below, along with like my website and some other stuff that I use. Some people ask me about, you know, what kind of things I use, my picks, my strings, stuff like that. So I leave that stuff in the description as well, in case you want to, you know, check that stuff out. That might help you with your playing as well, okay? Because that's what we're here for, is to help you learn, help you get better with your guitar playing. So once again, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. Work on that stuff that I taught you. And we'll see you next time at our lesson, all right? Take care.